To the world news at noon at Ono 103.5 FM. I am Temitope Dada. In the news this afternoon, President Tinubu approves new terms of service for Nigerian armed forces. On the African news, Ugandan court insists government pays compensation to LRA victims. On the foreign scene, bomb kills Russian general in Moscow. In business, federal government World Bank partner on $600 million rural road project. In entertainment, Nigerian ace comedian Bovi kicks against beating of children. In sports, Ademola Lookman wins CAF 2024 African Player of the Year award. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has approved a new harmonized terms and conditions of service for the Nigerian Armed Forces. This development aims to enhance the welfare of military personnel nationwide. The approval was announced by Dada Olusegun, the special assistant to the president on social media, following the National Defense Council meeting presided over by President Tinubu. The new harmonized terms and conditions of service streamline policies for officers and enlisted personnel, marking a significant step forward in supporting the nation's soldiers, rating, and airmen. This move demonstrates President Tinubu's commitment to improving the military's overall well-being. Also in the news this afternoon, the Police Service Commission (PSC) has approved the promotion of 27 senior police officers comprising 11 commissioners of police elevated to Assistant Inspector General of Police and 16 deputy commissioners of police promoted to substantive commissioners of police. The commission, in a statement signed by Ikechukwu Ani, head of press and public relations, who said this development was announced at the PSC's second plenary meeting, explained that the newly promoted officers underwent rigorous written and oral examinations at the Commission's corporate headquarters on December 16th. DIG Taiwo Lakanu, who chaired the promotion interviews, advised the newly promoted officers to demonstrate unwavering dedication to their new roles and continue giving their best in service. And on the African news coming from Uganda this afternoon, a Ugandan court has ordered the government to pay $2,740 each to the victim of Lord's Resistance Army commander Thomas Kielo. Kielo was sentenced to 40 years in prison for war crimes, including murder, rape, and kidnapping in October. The court found Kielo unable to pay compensation due to the indigent status, shifting the responsibility to the government. The court cited the scale of atrocities committed by Kielo as a failure on the government's part. Additional compensation was awarded to victims of property destruction and theft caused by Kielo. The Lord's Resistance Army, founded in the late 1980s, aimed to overthrow the government and create a state-based leader. Now moving on to the foreign news, a high-ranking general in the Russian armed forces and his assistant have been killed in Moscow by Ukraine's security service. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, head of Nuclear Biological Chemical Defense Forces, was outside a residential block earlier on Tuesday when a device hidden in a scooter was detonated remotely. A source in Ukraine's SBU security service claimed Kirillov was a legitimate target and alleging that he had carried out war crimes. On Monday, the SBU charged Kirillov in absentia, saying on Telegram that he was responsible for the mass use of banned chemical weapons. The Ukrainian government has not yet commented on the general's death. Lacquers coming from North Korea this afternoon. Fighting in Russia's Kursk region has resulted in significant casualties for North Korean forces. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry's main Directorate of Intelligence reports that at least 30 North Korean soldiers were killed or wounded in weekend battles. North Korean commanders are sending reinforcements to frontline units to replenish losses. The 94th Separate Brigade of the DPRK Army is providing fresh personnel to continue combat operations. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby confirmed the casualties, estimating several dozen North Korean soldiers have been killed or wounded while fighting in Ukraine. This development highlights the ongoing intensity of conflict in the region. If you are just joining us, you're listening to the World News on Honor 103.5 FM Ibadan. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media handles at Honor 103.5 FM, and you can also listen live on the Radio Garden app at Honor FM Ibadan. And now to the business report. The federal government and World Bank have allocated $600 million to rehabilitate 200,000 kilometers of rural roads under the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project. This initiative aims to improve rural infrastructure, enhance agricultural marketing. According to the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Abdullahi, the World Bank is contributing $500 million, while the federal and state governments will provide $100 million as counterpart funding. The project is already operational in 19 states. Abdullahi emphasized that participating states must establish rural access road authorities and state road funds to ensure road maintenance and sustainability. This collaborative effort aims to create sustainable rural infrastructure, boosting agricultural productivity and rural economies. In the entertainment news this afternoon, Nigerian stand-up comedian Bovi Ugbonna has said he's not in support of beating children as a way of correction. Featuring in a recent episode of a podcast, Bovi emphasized that children do not deserve to be beaten regardless of their offense, and that when a child does something, adults should let them be instead of transferring frustration on them. The comedian also criticized the practice of senior students punishing junior colleagues in primary and secondary schools, pointing out that no child should be given authority over another child in the name of a senior student. And finally, in sport news this afternoon, Nigerians Ademola Lookman has been crowned African Player of the Year at the 2024 CAF Awards in Marrakech, Morocco. This triumph makes him the 7th Nigerian to win a prestigious award, following in the footsteps of Victor Osimhen's victory last year. Lookman's remarkable year included 3 goals and 2 assists as Nigeria reached their 8th African Cup of Nations final in February. He also scored a hat-trick to secure the UEFA Europa Cup for the Atalanta against Bayer Leverkusen in May. This season, the 26-year-old has continued his fine form, scoring 11 goals and providing 5 assists in 18 appearances. In other awards, the Super Falcons retained their Women's National Team of the Year title, while goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie successfully defended her Goalkeeper of the Year title. And that will be all for now on the World News at noon at Honor 103.5 FM. Before we go, here is a recap of the major stories. On the national news, we inform you that President Tinubu has approved new terms of service for Nigerian armed forces. On the African news, Ugandan court has ordered the government to pay compensation to LRA victims. While on the foreign scene, remotely detonated bomb in Moscow has killed Russian general. And business, federal government, World Bank partners on $600 million rural road rehabilitation project. In entertainment, Nigerian comedian Bovi has kicked against beating of children irrespective of the offense. In sports, Ademola Lookman has won African Player of the Year award at 2024 CAF Awards. For Eyewitness reports, news mentions and news commercials, contact the Honor FM newsroom at 0817-675-5555 or 0913-600-1035. You can also visit our website at www.honorfm1035.net for more information. The World News is compiled by Adida Molasak and edited by Richard Ekpo. I am Timi Tokwedada. Thanks for listening.
And that was the news.